Welcome to Connect Devs, the world's smartest hiring engine.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving right into one of hiring's biggest headaches, those incomplete candidate profiles. You know the ones. We're going to break down exactly how AI is solving this and why, honestly, it's becoming a must-have for any team that wants to hire smarter and faster. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll walk through it in 5 parts. First, we'll start with the problem every single recruiter knows way too well. Then we'll look at the AI solution and how it actually works. Then we'll get into its real-world impact. And finally, we'll take a little peek into the future. All right, first up, the incomplete profile problem. You know this feeling. This is at the very root of so many delays, frustrations, and, let's be honest, bad hiring decisions. I mean, just think about it for a second. How many hours have you personally lost chasing down details that should have been there in the first place? You're digging through Google, LinkedIn, trying to find a portfolio, all that manual work, it really adds up. And these right here, these are the usual suspects. It's the missing email address, the portfolio that's nowhere to be found, the job title that seems a little off, or my favorite, those fuzzy employment dates. Look, these gaps aren't just a little annoying, they create real bottlenecks and force you to either guess or spend hours playing detective. So here's the bottom line. All that missing data leads directly to bad business outcomes. You end up wasting time interviewing the wrong people, you make decisions with only half the story, and ultimately, you raise the odds of making a very expensive bad hire. Okay, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution, because this is where technology is really stepping in to fix this, and it's where things get pretty interesting. So, what are we actually talking about here? AI Candidate Enrichment. It's not just about blindly adding more data to a profile. The absolute key is that it checks and cross-references information from a whole bunch of different sources. This way, you're building a picture of a candidate that you can actually trust. It's kind of like having a super smart research assistant that works for you 24/7. It automatically finds that missing contact info, it validates if their job history actually makes sense, it uncovers that key portfolio you were looking for, and it even flags inconsistencies for you to check out. It builds a complete, evidence-backed profile for every single candidate. Okay, so that's what it does. But how does it all work behind the scenes? Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. You can see it's a pretty systematic process. It's not just random data scraping. It starts by scanning and collecting info, then it checks their history for consistency, making sure the timeline actually adds up. Then step 3, skill pattern analysis. That's crucial. It looks for actual proof of the skills a candidate claims to have. It also looks for digital signals. So, for example, it might flag a sudden unverified jump from junior developer to CTO in just 6 months. And the best part, it all gets integrated right back into your workflow so you're not juggling a bunch of different tools. Now we're at the real payoff. This is where we see how this enrichment process totally transforms hiring from, a guessing game into a much more informed, strategic part of the business. I mean, this slide just says it all. It's the perfect before and after. On the left, you've got the old way, wasted interviews, those awful late-stage surprises, and candidates just dropping out. But look at the right. With enrichment, the path forward is so much clearer. You start with a solid foundation of reliable candidates, which leads to way more accurate screening and, naturally, higher success rates. And the 3 biggest benefits are super clear. First, you spend your time talking to better, more relevant candidates. Second, because your contact data is actually clean, your outreach is way more effective. And third, you cut down on all the noise from applications that just aren't a good fit before they eat up your team's valuable time. And this isn't just for one type of company. Talent agencies are using it to vet people way faster. Startups that don't have big recruiting teams use it to filter effectively. Big corporations use it to clean up massive, old databases. Even sales teams are using it to build better prospect lists. It's for teams of all sizes who want a competitive edge. All right, so that's the here and now. But let's look ahead for a minute. This technology is not standing still. So where is all of this going? Well, it's only going to get smarter. Pretty soon you'll be able to model a candidate's likely career path, get a real sense of their skill level, not just what they claim on a resume, and even see profiles update themselves automatically. The whole goal is to move beyond just data points and get to a deep, contextual understanding of each person. But let's be super clear about one thing. This is not about replacing people. The tech provides the intelligence, but you still need human expertise to interpret that data, to ask really insightful questions, and to make the final call. These are decision support tools, not automated verdicts.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's simple, really. Enriched data isn't a nice-to-have feature anymore. It's a core, fundamental layer of any modern hiring process. The teams that build on this solid foundation are going to be the ones who make better, faster, and much more confident hiring decisions. It's as simple as that.
And that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. Your competitors are getting smarter with their data every single day. So, are you ready for this fundamental shift in how top talent gets found?